Welcome to another session of the TRANSFORMER Café. As you know, these are interactive sessions that we are hosting to present the key outputs after the hard work of 2 years of the TRANSFORMER project. And we want to show you all the insights and all the knowledge that we have accumulated throughout this project and help regions to create strategies towards net zero transition. So sit down, grab a coffee, enjoy, and learn with us. Share with us some knowledge and see how you can also support sustainable regional transformation. The Transformer Cafe sessions have 5 parts. We have already seen the quantitative regional assessment framework, the matchmaking toolkit, the user forum, and today we're going to be talking about the knowledge hub. We also have one more session ready for you, transition readiness assessment tool. So click and enjoy. Today, we're going to be talking about the knowledge hub. I have 2 experts here with me, Georgia Ayafantopoulou, who is a research director and deputy director of CERT. I have also Maria Constantinidou, who is a research associate at CERT. They are going to be guiding you throughout the knowledge hub and all of its functionalities. They've been developing it for this time and they know all about it. So enjoy how they are going to guide you through it. First, let's see about the Transformer project. I have mentioned that it's a 2-year project that we have received and it was funded by the Horizon Europe framework. It was aimed at facilitating transition of regions from fossil fuel dependence to zero carbon economies. We have focused on designing and implementing systemic transformation frameworks. And the key to that was to use innovative transition superlabs. Because it's a pilot project, it was also piloted in 4 different regions. In Germany, in Ruhr area, in Italy, in Emilia-Romagna, in Poland, in Lower Silesia, and in Greece, in Western Macedonia. The transition superlabs were hubs to develop and test portfolios of low carbon and cost-effective solutions in real life that are technologically proven, and we want to test them in large-scale settings. We also included, because we know it's important for implementation, financing, and funding opportunities, and you could also hear about those before. Because we believe that by integrating multidisciplinary expertise from the quadruple helix, universities, municipalities, businesses, and civil society, we can create a collaborative environment and help to accelerate the transition to climate neutrality in regions. So now we have Georgia and Maria with us, who will actually talk us through the knowledge hub that will help all the regions to gather all the knowledge. So, Maria, can you please tell us and give us an overview about the Knowledge Hub and how does it fit within all of these transition superlabs and within the Transformer project?
Sure. I would like to welcome you all. I hope to enjoy our today's World Cafe. Starting with what the Transformer Knowledge Hub is. So our goal was to develop a step-by-step advisory hub to give the opportunity to the regions and the different ecosystem of actors to build their capacity in order to adopt innovation and so to be able to evolve a cross-sectorial transition towards climate neutrality. So the Knowledge Hub, its main objective is to operate as a collaborative space for the regions and all the transition-related stakeholders and sharing different collective knowledge, so different methodologies, tools, good practices, transition enabling tools and methodologies, and serve as a living resource that, of course, was evolving during the Transformer project, but it will also evolve beyond the project. So it will continuously be enriched with new transition enabling methodologies, tools, and good practices after the end of the project, in order to support the successful implementation of the transition superlab approach for different regions across Europe, and help them accelerate the transition process to climate neutrality. The Knowledge Hub is available online in this link that you can see in this slide, and I will go through the different functionalities of the Knowledge Hub later. So about how the Knowledge Hub is linked with other outputs of the Transformer project, I will give the floor to Georgia.
Yeah, of course. So hi, everybody. That is, I'm very happy that we have this opportunity to communicate directly with you and share the outcome of this very interesting and very challenging project we accomplished the last years. So yeah, the Knowledge Hub has accumulated all the knowledge, the new knowledge that the Transformer project created in order to answer to a knowledge gap. And the knowledge gap around Europe is that how, at the level of the regions, we will fulfill this very ambitious goal of climate neutrality. There are a lot of knowledge at the regions, sectoral knowledge, but how the regions they will be transformed and what they need to do first, second, and how they will collaborate and how they will achieve these new needs for collaborations in order to achieve the goal is a real big gap. So the Knowledge Hub of the Transformer projects helps all the actors from different sectors in accordance with the transition model that has been created by the project and the roadmap to a step-by-step approach, finding correct answers to their whys and what and when and how, with which priority. These questions, the practical questions that the actors have. So you see all the tools, all the methodologies that has been developed in the project for the transition to climate neutrality, for the regional transition to climate neutrality to be there. It's a one-stop shop for all the tools. You need to be guided there, give the time, and you will find a lot of answers to very critical questions on how you will achieve collaboration for cross-sectorial transition to climate neutrality.
Thank you. That was extremely interesting. I would like to now know a bit more about who is it actually designed for. We have heard about the quadruple helix, and for me, those are the target audiences. Could you also maybe tell us more about the specific needs that it answers?
Okay, so I can take this. There are a lot, as I said before, there are a lot of people that are having askings on what is their role in the regions, in the different sectors, and how they can contribute. Everybody wants to achieve this transition to climate neutrality. So the Knowledge Hub has been developed, first of all, in order to be an environment where the actors of the different transition super labs that has been created during the life cycle of the projects in the participating regions to help them organize their steps through experimentation of the tools, experimentation of the methods, experimentation of their collaboration for achieving transition goals. Then we thought that there is the transition super lab is a network of networks. You have some actors there, as is how it has been developed also in the context of the Transformers. We have some partners, and then there was a big community that has been created around the key partners of the transition super labs in each one of the regions that was participating. And there we have identified we need to have a common vocabulary. We need to make the people being aware of a common process and having through the tools and the methodologies, the power to implement their own paths to speed up through innovation, the transition to climate neutrality. So we have developed this Knowledge Hub also for the larger community at the regions from the different sectors that they can really collaborate to accelerate transition to climate neutrality through innovation. And finally, we have developed that, and actually we tested it. We received a lot of very interesting input from the following regions, the follower regions of Europe that has, let's say, been collaborating with the consortium of the transformers through this period of the transformer project life cycle. We learned a lot from their experiences. We have identified requirements, additional requirements on how this knowledge that has been created should be communicated to third parties. So that creates a knowledge hub that is for everybody, for the very advanced regions and partners and actors in the climate neutrality and the cross-sectorial collaboration, for those that they are aware of the thing, they want to move, but they want to network inside their regions, and also by followers who have not been really very active, but they want to learn quickly. And learning quickly is one of the objectives that the Knowledge Hub fulfills. Different partners, actors with different knowledge starting points, they can achieve the level of common understanding, and they have in front of them the different tools how to do the steps and which are the steps they need to do for achieving transition to climate neutrality. So capacity building, tools there, all the knowledge is accumulated. It is a continuous knowledge creation process. So every user adds to this knowledge, and of course, stimulation of innovative solution adoption. We will never achieve the objectives of the climate neutrality on time if we don't accelerate the process through innovation. This is the core of the transition model to climate neutrality that the Transformers project offers to the audience, to the European audience in the regions.
Great, thank you. I really enjoyed hearing about how it actually brings all the regions with different types of knowledge on the same level very quickly. And I would like to hear a bit more about the Knowledge Hub. Could you please walk us through all of the main features and perhaps show us how does it actually function? We know it's an online tool, and online tools are best seen when they are working in front of us.
Of course, we will do hands-on experience. Of course, it's more. So we invite everybody following this video to go to the website and then see, but Maria will navigate you through.
Okay. So now we visited our online knowledge hub, and I will try to give you a quick navigation through this online hub. So here is our homepage. You can find some general information about Transformer project. And of course, you can redirect to our website in order to find more information. Then you can navigate in these very nice images. So we have some information about what the Knowledge Hub is, how you can use it, why to use it, and who, of course, can use it. You can discover the transition superlab approach, because not all the users are familiar with what we were developing during Transformer project. You can find some very useful information about how your region can achieve a paradigm shift by following the transition model that we were developing during Transformer project. And of course, this is one of our main tabs here, the knowledge repository that includes the different methodologies, tools, and good practices that will help your region accelerate and speed up the transition towards climate neutrality. Then, because this transition superlab approach is a new and emerging approach in Europe, and not everyone is familiar with this approach, as we are developing this in Transformer project, we have a small introduction about the transition superlab approach. So our common definition that we are developing during Transformer project, what is meant by transition and what is the transition super lab as we conceptualized during our project. And then, and this is one of the main tabs of the Knowledge Hub, is how to achieve a paradigm shift. So as Georgia mentioned before, the Knowledge Hub is built upon the transition, the cross-sectorial transition model that CERT developed in the first, let's say, year of the project. So the transition super lab achieves a paradigm shift following the 4 steps of the transformer transition model that are based on the open innovation process. So here, the users of the Knowledge Hub have the opportunity to click on the different, let's say, phases or steps of the transition model and find more information about what the region should do in each of these steps in order to accelerate their transition towards climate neutrality. So please go at this tab and let's say play a little bit with these phases and the steps in order to acquire an overall image of how your region can achieve and how can accelerate the transition to climate neutrality. So the Knowledge Hub is built upon this transition model. This means that in the next tab, which is the knowledge repository, the user is able to find different knowledge items, so good practices, methodologies, and tools for each of the specific phases and steps of the transition model. So here, the user is able to filter by type of knowledge. So if someone wants to see good practices or methodologies or tools, for example, in good practices, we have good practices that were developed outside of the project. So, for example, the conflict resolution mechanism, if we click here in the red more button, someone can have a quick overview of the different conflict resolution mechanisms that exist in the literature review, such as the Thomas Gilman conflict mode instrument. And also there are the links that redirect the users to the respective, let's say, tools and that exist online. Also, there are good practices that we're developing during the project, like the recommendations for coalition building. And here the user can read a short paragraph about what these recommendations are for. And of course, the user can also download the deliverable that we are developing during the project, which is of course public in order to help the regions with coalition building processes.
That's very good, Maria. Actually, these are you selected from the knowledge library and the best practices, the 2 things that are very important. So how I can solve conflicts when different actors from different sectors and when competing objectives of energy, for example, in transport sector are occurring, how I solve this problem, how the region, what is the mechanism, what is the knowledge they need to do this, and also the other point of how I collaborate, how I can create the coalition of the different experiences that has already been made in the regions in different sectors in order to go towards the climate neutrality, how I put together these efforts in order to achieve the results. These are the 2 main challenges actually of a transition process. So yeah, very good that you have selected these points of the knowledge. Of course, there are a lot of others experience
Yes, thank you, Georgia. Indeed, these 2 points are of high interest and importance for the regions in order to achieve their transition. Also, we have different methodologies that exist in the literature review, like methodologies that help the region in define quick wins. It is a well-known methodology, that MIC process, so the users can read and familiarize themselves with this methodology. But of course, we have methodologies that we developed in the project, like the methodology for assessing the efficiency and success of the transition process, the quantitative regional assessment methodologies, and others methodologies. And of course, we have different tools like, let's say, the transition readiness assessment tool. So the users can click on this button, read a short description about what the transition readiness self-assessment tool is, and of course visit the tool and use it and see some very useful results about their transition readiness scores.
That is another very important aspect of the value proposition, of the unique value proposition Transformer project gives and also the knowledge hub provides as a gate to the users is exactly so. There is always a question: Am I ready for a transition? My region has the capacity, has the possibility to make this transition step. So, and then also when I have done and invest as a region and as actors and as different sectors in activities toward climate neutrality, it is really some change that has been achieved. So these transition assessment tools guides I think we will speak again about this, but guides the actors to understand where they stand right now as a whole, as a region, as an ecosystem, and where there are the very weak points where they need to stress their work and their emphasis in order to achieve the speed up process of the transition.
Except of filtering by type of knowledge item, the user can filter by step of transition model, as I said before. So someone can click on assess the transition readiness of the region and see what methodologies, tools, or good practices exist for implementing this step. For example, let's say select another step. Let's say the first step, define the transition challenge. Here we have different methodologies and tools. We have the PESTEL analysis that help the regions identify different political, environmental, social, technological, economic, and legal parameters of their context in order to have a profound, let's say, image about the enablers and the barriers that they will face during the transition process.
Yeah, probably we can share with our audience, Maria, that yes, these are well-known methodologies. Our experience creating in 3 regions transition superlabs and helping the cross-sectoral ecosystems to make their path in order to accelerate transition to climate neutrality through innovation, we have identified that, okay, existing methodologies, they can be used, but they can be related should be related in a different way of the traditional cost-benefit analysis or assessment methodologies that we have for each one of the sectors. We need to look at it from a different perspective. This is why the methodologies that are well known, we try to use the existing methodologies for which the users around Europe are really familiarized. But they are used in a different way in this step-by-step process of the transition model. So indeed, we need more knowledge, more tools, new tools, And we need a lot of capacity also on looking on this systemic change in a different way, using existing methodologies and tools in a different way in order to facilitate the systemic change. And more of knowledge is needed to the systemic change assessment and facilitation. So the project concluded on good results there, and we will, in an easy way, put the users in this new idea of thinking of using methodologies and implementing the steps.
Yes, you're right, Georgia. And indeed, we invite all the users of the Knowledge Hub to download and read our public deliverables that are uploaded in the Knowledge Hub in the different steps, in order to see how we experience this combination of the existing methodologies and the methodologies that we were developing during the project. Because not because we are partners of Transformer project, but indeed we did a great job with the 4 European regions that we try to implement this transition superlab approach. And okay, so I hope you had an overview of how this tab, the knowledge repository, work. And of course, there is a tab about frequently asked questions that will be updated soon about the main challenges that we faced during Transformer project and how we tried to overcome them.
Thank you for mentioning that, Maria, because in fact, this knowledge camp, usually the knowledge camps, they need to follow the elaboration of the knowledge and the development of the knowledge. So indeed, as the users are using that, and as we experience this usage from third parties, from externals, from the followers, then we, of course, we understand what are the frequent questions. We try to add more to this information and the tools, and this is a living tool. So is gaining from the knowledge also of the users. So we would like to be on a continuous feedback with those that they are using it in order to gain more of the knowledge and then accumulate the knowledge and present the knowledge in a better way for helping our objectives of facilitating transition through innovation to climate neutrality.
Thank you very much for the great presentation of the Knowledge Hub. I really appreciated to see all of the tools and all of the functionalities that are within it, especially if you're a region and coming from a no knowledge point of view, and you can navigate through the different steps of the transition process, answering the questions that you have is very valuable. Because we know that there are different platforms and other tools that are online. Maybe we can go a bit more deep into what are the unique USPs of the Knowledge Hub and what are the needs that it answers that other platforms, for example, may not.
So indeed, correct. There are a lot of platforms. Actually, a lot of knowledge, a lot of platform is available everywhere. And this is one of the problems. We are working very close with the regions, and we know that the regional authorities and sectorial stakeholders, they have their everyday work to perform. So running around, it's trying to find answers to practical questions they have. It's a difficult thing. So the unique selling point of the Knowledge Hub is that is a collective knowledge there from the capital helix, as we said at the beginning. So if you want to know methodologies that come from usually from consultants or from researchers, it's there. If you want to know about experience that comes from public sector or private sector, it's there. If you want to know how you can speak with a common vocabulary on a stepwise approach to different stakeholders, from management, for circular economy, for transport, and everybody will understand you in the same way, yes, then you go to the Transformer Knowledge Hub, the Transition Knowledge Hub, because everybody from the different points of view that they are approaching the issue of transition to climate neutrality, they can understand the content and they can find useful information, because this is a knowledge sharing hub. It's a culture and knowledge that has been accumulated from different stakeholders and experience and actors and regions, because they wanted to share it. And this is the unique selling point of the added value of the Knowledge Hub. It is also focusing on very critical things like the collaboration, how different people with different knowledge, different purposes, different objectives sometimes, with sharing the same vision of the climate neutrality, and showing also the difficulties of achieving it, how they can collaborate. There you find a lot of tools, a lot of ways, a lot of paradigms for the collaboration. We need a very big paradigm shift to achieving the transition to climate neutrality. And this platform focuses a lot on giving guidance on how to achieve the paradigm shift. We need new arguments for the stakeholders to engage them with us. And the way of creating this argument quickly is really there through the vision collaboration. So exactly this is our second unique selling point of the Knowledge Hub. The learning and the training, yeah, that is something that others also provide, but this is the provision, as I said before, training and capacity building to different types of stakeholders of the category helps on a common vocabulary that they can understand for practical solutions. If we go to the next slide, yes, okay. So one unique selling point is exactly this: how I can solve and how I can, the problem that I have that gives me difficulties to move towards climate neutrality if I'm a regional authority, and how I can make a combinational decision making. So in regions today, we have ecosystems, we have category helps ecosystems working for the energy, for the transport, and they do their own job now, and they do their decision making in the context of sectoral objectives, which usually and hopefully they are integrated in a regional objective for changing the model and development of the region. However, when you need to make a decision that different stakeholders from different actors, they need to agree, this is a much more complicated process. In there, we are offering this problem-solving repository of good practices and methodologies, because we have developed in the context of TRANSFORMER, the consortium has developed the quick way of creating arguments and of sharing knowledge. So you can see how you can put in a room different stakeholders and really co-create the knowledge, the common knowledge that is needed in order to take a decision that is approved by everybody. And finally, the unique selling point of the Knowledge Hub and of the transition, the Transforming project and the transition model is the stakeholder engagement. We have discussed a lot with different stakeholders in different regions around Europe. We have experienced this loss of interest, quick loss of interest from stakeholders. There is a lot of disappointment, and this disappointment is increasing when you see the difficulties that we need to go through in order to achieve the very good vision of the climate neutrality to regions. Right now, we are very much focusing in Europe on making climate neutral the cities. However, the decisions of systemic changes that are needed in the cross-sectorial point needs to happen at the level of the regions. And we don't do a lot of things in changing the regions. So the big difficulties makes the people to say, and they say, oh, it's so difficult, it will not change, it will not do it. So how you stimulate the engagement of the stakeholders around the practical objectives and steps. This is a very good outcome of TRANSFORMER project that has been integrated in the Knowledge Hub on making different stakeholders to answer common practical questions. and then seeing quick wins happening, and then for that reasons be on board and be engaged continuously in this process. So we say, as every platform says, that we are comprehensive. What we say in addition to other platforms is that we want to learn from you, from the users. So keep, and the platform, the Knowledge Hub gives this possibility, enlarging the knowledge from your experience. So the unique selling point of the Knowledge Hub of the Transformer project is that creates the basis for augmenting this community, cross-sectorial community working for the transition to climate neutrality. And each one of you, each one of the users can feel that can make a step in order to achieve the overall goal. That is the unique selling point of the Knowledge Hub.
I really like how the Knowledge Hub focuses on the experience that has been drawn through the pilot project throughout the Transformer last 2 years. And so I know that you have tested it with the pilot regions. Could you please tell us some experiences and some feedback that you have received from these pilot regions, so that other follower regions can actually learn from this experience, and users that would like to access the Knowledge Hub can actually learn from it and can use that information already?
Indeed, Veronica, we asked not only the Transformer regions, but also the follower regions that participated in our user forum, in Transformer user forum, about the usefulness of the different knowledge items that are already included in the Knowledge Hub. So here you can see first, let's say, ranking of what the folder region answered. So they evaluate the quantitative regional assessment framework for transition superlab as a really useful methodology for the regions. But also the methodology for assessing the efficiency success of the transition process, which is a milestone monitoring process based on the Transformer transition model. The impact assessment methodology that we developed during the project for implementing at a later stage when the regions will implement some projects, some transition projects, some pilot use cases, but also they evaluate as useful some tools and methodologies from the existing literature, like the SWOT analysis. It's a well-known methodology that is always useful for a region in order to analyze what are its strengths, its weaknesses, in order to find the transition opportunities and trends for the future. And also the model of governance. This is a canvas developed by Enol and adjusted in Transformer project in order to evaluate various governance models for the transition superlabs. Also, we have different interactive sessions with our transition superlabs, the 4 regions of that participate in Transformer project. The feedback was really positive, so all the knowledge items were assessed as really useful. But of course, the regions provide some suggestions for additional tools and methodologies that can be added in the Transformer Knowledge Hub. And of course, this feedback will be considered, and the Knowledge Hub will be enriched during the following months after the project, in order to ensure high levels of usability, not only for the Transformer transition superlabs, but also for the regions that want to apply this approach in the future.
So what this ranking is showing there, showing that the regions, they have realized that really this is a difficult task to do. and they rank higher the tools of the knowledge hub. That first, they give them quantitative guidance. We are going through a process, through a period where a lot of uncertainties exist. So the planning is a difficult thing. So whatever can, let's say, quantify the level of the readiness, the level of the characteristics of the region that can guide decisions are there. They are ranked high. Also, methodologies and models that help them to make in a different way, creating the arguments to convince and facilitate the decision making. They are also, let's say, ranked first, because we speak about co-creation and everybody adopt that. But co-creating in cross-sectorial environment for accelerating transitions through innovation is a much more complicated thing. So the tools that offers this type of knowledge and support, they are ranked higher. Let me say that Transition Living Lab is a concept that is based on the Living Lab concept and methodologies of the European Network of Living Labs. And this is a concept that is not very easily embraced by actors at the regions, the local level. Now, everybody, the mission agency, the United Nations, European Commission suggests that we need to go through ecosystem approaches, like the Living Lab approach. So this also is something that it needs to be understood by the stakeholders. So you see the first three are very highly ranked because they give answers to these very critical points that the regions and the stakeholders face and the ecosystem face in order to make up their minds and make decisions and be sure that they go to the correct direction. The last two, which is the impact assessment. Impact assessment has always been a difficult thing around Europe for all the time. So here we have an impact assessment methodology that tries to embrace the cross-sectorial change. And that, of course, is much more complicated. In the tools, we have also the possibility to get the actors to get help on how they collect the minimum set of data, on how they can assess proxy methodologies in order to assess the impact. But this is a topic where we need to do more work, and we know we need to do it also at the level of Europe, because you need the arguments for the next step. So you need to be in a position quickly to make an assessment if you are on a good way, on a good level or not. And yeah, and finally, this low level of the SWOT is not that SWOT is not good. So what is ranked fifth is that that result shows that the stakeholders at the region, they understand they need new tools and new methodologies, or using the methodologies in a different way, in a different process as it is suggested by the transition model of the transformers. So it is really, we are happy with these results. We have experienced the use of the tool in the regions that participated, but these are the results of the follow regions. And we're very happy because it shows three things. The message of the Transformer project is easily passed through the knowledge hub. The main tools, they are really understood. They are also comply methodology tools offered from the knowledge hub. They also comply with the needs. And the stakeholders from the Qatar helix from different regions around Europe, they show that we give them what they need for this new transition, integrated transition, cross-sectorial transition to climate neutrality through innovation.
Thank you, Georgia and Maria. I really enjoy talking to you about the Knowledge Hub. But I would like to also speak for some of the regions that are, or regional representatives that are potentially listening to us right now, and they are looking to accelerate their net zero transition. What kind of recommendation would you give them? And can you point out potentially to some functionalities of the Knowledge Hub that can help them in this transition?
So then we strongly recommend our regional actors to go to the Knowledge Hub, and as Maria said, started the presentation, starting from the transition model, understand what is the new transition process you need to do for this cross-sectorial collaboration towards the climate neutrality. And that is the one thing. When you get this knowledge, then you really understand your local ecosystem, what is the meaning of these steps, because the steps that you see there came out from a bottom-up approach, speaking in the regions with the different actors. So the first recommendation is this: go to the Knowledge Hub and understand the transition process. The second is collaboration and innovation hubs is something that is happening in different sectors in regions. If you don't have, of course, you need to develop them. If you have them, you need to very much map them and know who are there, who are your actors, who are your veto players, who are those that they can stop projects that go to climate neutrality. So you need to map this innovation hubs, collaboration platforms, the Cat Helix initiatives towards climate neutrality and innovation, which definitely exist somewhere in the region, and map them. As I said, if you don't have it, the region needs to help create it. But I really believe in many regions, because of the EU policy that is followed by all the regions in Europe, this type of developments already exist. Then you need to create this, let's say, space dialogue. You need to say that, okay, we are all together, and nobody needs to step out from that. And the Transition Living Lab is doing a role that is completely different, is not trying to overlap with activities of others, is trying to embrace the activities of everybody towards the quick wins and towards the speeding up the process. So go with in all the existing, let's say, structures there, and create this space of dialogue, of knowledge sharing, of feedback collection, and joint decision making. Make the first engagement by declaring that is nobody wants to change everything there. We want to embrace this knowledge, and what we want to give the possibility to the Transition Living Lab to speed up the process. And there, the Knowledge Hub gives you all the tools on how to do it. As I said before, how you enter in a room with the different stakeholders, that they have their own identity, their own role, and you bring them together to understand the same thing and to go ahead from the point you are towards the climate neutrality. Then in this process, you need tools, you need methodology. You will have problems like how I solve a conflict, how I support the neutrality of the Transition Living Lab. Who should be the one who will be, let's say, as an organization, who will push toward that direction of a Transition Living Lab creation. There, you can identify enabling tools, methodologies that can really be transferable, and you can use them, and you can just pick it up and take them from the Knowledge Hub. So how I create a strategy that everybody can understand, the moment that I have an energy strategy and I also have a mobility strategy, how I can have an overall strategy that everybody comply with this and go, how I can, let's say, make this broader understanding of the geography of the region, because there are a lot of things that are happening in different points of the region, in different cities or other economical areas in the region. How we come all together to speak about the region. So all of these are tools that are in the Knowledge Hub. And finally, the hub, the Knowledge Hub itself, is a tool that can help you to accumulate the additional information that comes through these activities that the hub is supporting you, the tools of the hub support you to do. So all this, let's say, knowledge that comes together, you can share with other regions. You can you can include in the Knowledge Hub additional information from Excellent. You are broader the applicability, and in fact that is something that you need to do in your region, and the Knowledge Hub helps you to do it. So these are the type of recommendations for the regions to take the Knowledge Hub and navigate through their own process of transition to climate neutrality.
Thank you. Now, I really would like to go to the Knowledge Hub and learn about everything that it actually encompasses, and see all the tools and all the methodologies that it has. But we also know that the Transformer project is ending. So is there anything foreseen beyond the length of the project? And can we maybe access the website of the Knowledge Hub even after the project ends? I'm sure that everybody would love to actually go there.
CERF will technically maintain the Knowledge Hub beyond the Transformer project, but not just technically maintain, but update it continuously beyond the project with additional tools and methodologies. So this is why we also asked for all the users to send us their feedback, their comments in order to improve the functionalities of the Knowledge Hub. And of course, if you are aware, or if you have already experienced a methodology or a tool that is not included in the Knowledge Hub, and you think that this tool can accelerate the transition of a region towards climate neutrality, please contact us, please, and we will be more than happy to integrate in the Knowledge Hub. So with this way, we will ensure the operation of the Knowledge Hub as a unique space for all the European regions that want to follow our approach of Transition Superlab. And there they can, and they will be able also in the future to find valuable knowledge on how to accelerate and speed up their transition towards climate neutrality. Of course, there is no need to say that the Knowledge Hub will be promoted through social media, future conferences and events. Yes, Georgia, you want to say also?
Yeah, actually, it's not about the Knowledge Hub. It's for sure that the Knowledge Hub of Transformers will be there, and for sustaining for transition. But what Transformer achieved is that it created a movement around Europe that everybody recognizes now that we need systemic change implementation. It was considered difficult. We tried to avoid it for years. We went through the sectorial approach as a policies and as interventions. But yes, Transformers spoke out about this change in systemic transition. And all the consortium with a very good knowledge about this systemic change provided and co-created these tools and methodologies and knowledge that is in the Knowledge Hub. So already, there are others around Europe that they recognize this need for systemic change, that appreciate the fact that the Transformer projects concluded on the Knowledge Hub to accumulate tools and methodologies on how to do it. And that is a very good basis that makes us really to be optimistic that the Knowledge Hub will be there, backed by all the consortium of Transformers and all the other followers, and the newcomers that they are coming and asking the Transformer to be at the heart of other initiatives or joining other initiatives, even after the end of the project. And the Knowledge Hub will be the, let's say, the representing form of the whole consortium going there. Just to say that with the European Network of Living Labs, we create in the context of the European Network of Living Labs, the Transition Super Labs, a working group. So others from the Living Labs community around Europe, from different sectors, they are coming and they are joining this dialogue about the systemic change and how the innovation can accelerate transition to climate neutrality of the regions. And that working group is opening and is inaugurating at the end of September, and it goes really very quickly. Also, there are other the universities that participated in the project. They have a broad network working on these systemic changes and methodologies for that. And the coalition of the collaboration between the partners of the Transformers and others initiatives makes us really be optimistic about the follow-up of this knowledge hub in the future.
Great. I'm really excited to hear that we are going to keep the Knowledge Hub alive, and that there's going to be also the working groups within the Living Labs groups that can also carry all of this knowledge and information beyond the project. I would like to thank to our experts, Georgia and Maria from CERT, and also thanks to all the listeners and viewers for all of the attention. And if you are interested in knowing more about the project or the Knowledge Hub, please don't hesitate to go to our website, transformerproject.eu, or you can follow us on social media. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.